This is the Ballin' Out Podcast, your weekly breakdown of Red Raider basketball from Double T 97.3 and Double T Sports Network.com.
Welcome into another episode of the Gaslighters Podcast, where we're taking a look at Red Raider men's basketball, and they have been on a heater. Clint, Scott, Chois, Woodman this week. You're coming off of two massive wins. One on the road in Houston, and the Cougars their first loss, that in overtime. We'll dive into that and all the theatrics that came with it. And then most recently, a Tuesday night win over Baylor. And different outcomes, different types of games, but both really solid wins. And then one huge for your resume, and the other one just a classic Big 12 battle. But Choice, right now, 7-game winning streak.
Yeah.
Best start in Big 12 play in program history, and you own the longest active winning streak in the conference right now. How did we get here?
It is one of those where Clint, I think we had hopes for this team coming into the season, and this team may be exceeding those hopes. I'm not sure. Maybe if you're really high on Grant McCaslin, high on the offseason signings, which you should have been, maybe you thought that this is what would happen, but I think you're seeing a potential Final Four team. I don't feel like I'm overstating that. I'm not saying you're locked in, or nobody's really locked in anywhere out there to the Final Four, but this is absolutely a team that has the pieces to get there. And I think it is one of a few you've had on campus that have the pieces to get there. You've obviously only had one that has gotten there, but you know, as I was talking with Jamie a couple of days ago following the win over Baylor, it's hard to find a weakness for this team. It's hard to find something where you pinpoint and say, this is what this team is bad at, because you're a really good shooting team. Right now, you're a really good defending team. That turned a corner whenever you got your butt kicked around by UCF the first game of conference play. This is a team that has an inside scorer. It's a team that's got plenty of outside scorers. You've got a shot blocker or a shot alterer around the rim, and you rebound really well. So I think it is really difficult to find a true weakness for this team, and that's what I think you see Tech win in so many variety of ways, like you've seen in just the last two games.
You know, Scott Drew, after the game, actually gave a compliment. I say actually, like he doesn't give compliments to everybody, but sometimes it's like coach speak compliment. And I get that there's a standing relationship between him and Grant McCaslin,
right?
So there's going to be some friendliness towards the two. But I really believed with what he said, because he said, hey, the Texas Tech team, it feels like they could be a Final Four team. And he also said it feels like there's 4 to 5 teams in the Big 12 that could fit that bill.
True.
And I agree with that on the 4-team part. Houston, Arizona, you are gimmies. Iowa State's in a little bit of a slump right now, but they could absolutely be a Final Four team.
Yeah.
And that's where I think those 4 teams in the Big 12 legitimately could make a Final Four. And right now, you're with the peers, and you've beaten a couple of those peers, and you have a chance on Saturday. It's going to be a tall task to keep the win streak going in Arizona. We've already beat them once at home, but I'm not we had a question the other day, like, why is Arizona favored on the matchup predictor when you already beat them? And it's like, well, if you go back to that game when you saw them last time, it was pretty close till about the final 5 minutes, and then you really found a way to pull away, which is credit to you.
Yeah.
But Arizona is the real deal. Those guards are tremendous.
Yeah. And they're a team that's won 12 out of 13. We're sitting there talking about how hot Tech is. Arizona's the second hottest team. You know, Houston in that conversation as well in the Big 12, because their only loss is to Texas Tech. So, yeah, I think to speak to what Tech's done up to this point, and some of the bracketology experts will agree with this, some won't. If the season ended today, Texas Tech is absolutely a 3 seed in the NCAA tournament.
Agreed.
A 3 seed. And if you continue on the streak that you're at, you're talking about a potential highest seed that you've ever gotten to. Now, hard to do, because you do have games at Arizona and a game at Kansas left. But you look at how Tech has played against everybody in this league, it makes you say, well, Arizona is going to be a slight favorite, but no reason you can't do what you've continued to do. You just, as we kind of dive into these games, you just went and beat Houston on their home floor, snapped a 33-game winning streak, and you did it through the most attrition anybody can ever face on the road. I mean, you can't get any more of a home court advantage than what Houston put on Texas Tech, because you lose your best scorer and best rebounder 3+ minutes into the game, and your coach follows, as he should have. So it's the ability, the fact that you can still go win that game is almost unreal based off of what was stacked up against Texas Tech.
And obviously, I mean, by the time we're recording this, you've played another game since then. Yeah. Everyone's pretty much gotten all of the that was an awful call kind of out of their system, although
I probably still have some built up.
Well, everyone's at least professed it, so it's not like we'd be breaking anything new or any a new slant or a new angle into looking at that. But just real quick, is that the worst call you've seen against Red Raider basketball?
I don't,
off the top of your head.
I don't know. I've seen a worse call in my college basketball watching history. You've had some doozies, but because of the magnitude of it, because of ejecting a player for no reason or for an unwarranted reason, you better be 100% sure. This goes in any sport, anywhere. If you're going to kick someone out of a game, you better be 100% sure of it. Completely certain. And I say that with targeting in football. I say that with anything. You better be certain of it if you're going to disqualify him. Because what you just did to JT Toppin, you took away all his hard work that he put into that game and said, your hard work doesn't matter. We're going to put ourselves above you. And fortunately, the team was able to rally and pick them up. But, because of what happened from that call, yes, it's the worst I have ever seen. And, yes, those guys do deserve punishment of some sort, whatever that looks like. And they probably will get it, whether that's losing a few games, like you're scratched from the schedule, each of you. In the Big 12, which they could probably just go to the ACC and do some games over there or something. But whatever that looks like, they deserve some punishment. I'm not.
What about a 40-year-old virgin style chest waxing?
Probably an apt punishment. I'm for it.
Gally Clarkson, let's go and take a look into JT Toppin, or whether, I guess, actually who's around JT Toppin, because you play that Houston game without him. And then against Baylor, he's not limited on minutes, but he rolls that ankle and plays just around 20 minutes, has 8 points, and you win again. I want to talk about, first, Chance McMillan. Mr. Consistency. Man. You don't win either game with a lot of guys or without a lot of guys, but especially Chance McMillan. I thought in Houston he was your attitude guy, your tone setter. As soon as JT Toppin went out, he was the first one that led the charge. And then when you add in the talent and what he's able to do as a basketball player in that game, it's all just like a perfect package type of player. Then against Baylor, maybe the most electric minute and a half we've seen in a while from Red Raider basketball. Maybe even in the Big 12. There's a lot of moments you'd have to go through from each team, but that's certainly for you. Where you just, Baylor comes back in close. It's kind of a back and forth game. And they would close the gap again before the game was over, but still that minute and a half where he hits 3 threes and the roof of the USA is just blown off. I think what he's doing right now is going under the radar in Big 12 play, and right now is an all Big 12 first-teamer type of guard in a league that is littered with tremendous guards.
I was about to say, I think you've said that about 3 Tech players this year already. This is an all Big 12 first-teamer, and that shows how much talent you do have scoring the basketball.
But I double mean it for Chance McMillan. I mean it
this time. No, and I can't disagree with you. I mean, that stretch was so much fun. When a guy gets hot, it is fun to watch. 3 possessions in a row, he hits a 3-pointer, and each one gets deeper and deeper. The third one, he does the Steph Curry turnaround and doesn't watch it go in. And man,
I would love to know what that feels like.
That is ballsy. Like you have got to know it's going in if you're gonna turn, and he did. So that was a lot of fun. I think Chance McMillan is. Coach McCaslin told the media before the season started. He says, this is Darian Williams and Chance McMillan's team. He said that point blank, this is their team. This team will go as far as they take it. And I think he meant that as a emotional leadership thing, but I also think he meant it as as a lead on the court type of thing. And both of those guys have been your leaders. JT Toppin's probably your best prospect. He might be your best scorer on the team. He's definitely your best rebounder. But I think I do agree that those are your two undoubted leaders on this team. And we've seen stretches from both of them this season where you're not winning basketball games without them kind of shouldering the team at times.
All right, before we turn the page fully to Arizona, I want to talk about two more players and get your thoughts. One, Elijah Hawkins. We all know how talented he is, but it feels like this stretch of games he has turned like the filthometer, if that's a thing.
Filthometer,
it's
okay.
just like ramped it up to 100. What he's done on the court as a shot creator for others and also for himself. Speaking of big shots against Houston, he has just shown just how special he can be by making others around him great and also just showing how great of a scorer he can be.
Yeah, I was expecting big things out of Elijah Hawkins before the season started. He hit a little lull after or at the beginning of conference play, but he's been everything I hoped for and maybe some more because you haven't had a true distributor of the basketball, just a true one you think of this a pass-first guy since Keenan Evans was on campus, and he's even more of a pass-first guy than Keenan was. But I think he shoots the ball a perfect amount. I think he will call his own number at times, and he'll see his shots go down, but it doesn't make him just say, okay, I'm shooting it every time down the floor. He is still a pass-first guy, but he knows the right times to pull the trigger on the three. And his three-point making ability, it's not the highest on the team by any means, but he makes just enough of them that it makes him and your whole offense a lot more dangerous because most of them seem to be timely threes.
Yeah, 7 of 14 over the past couple of games. If he wants to shoot 50% for the rest of the way out, he's welcome to. But I agree. I think he's got a sense of, hey, when it's not my night shooting the three, he's not going to force it.
Yeah.
But sometimes, when you have a couple of guys like this, but you also need guys like this, and he's been one of those guys for you. Like, hey, when that shot clock is dwindling, sometimes you're going to have a guy take charge and make something out of nothing. And Elijah Hawkins has done that for you. The other player I wanted to talk about, the return of Kerwin Walton. Just 3 points against Baylor, but 14 big ones against Houston, and has been found his way on the court more and more. It was getting to the point where he would start and then he'd play 8 to 10 minutes and you wouldn't see him again.
Right.
And the whole time he was on the court, you really never felt a presence from him either. And that has returned at a very important stretch too.
Yeah, I think Kerwin Walton's presence on this team is extremely necessary. I don't think you are a Final Four team without Kerwin Walton being on this team. I think he's that important of a piece to have because it really kills your depth completely. If Kerwin Walton was injured, there's a slump there that he was going through, but if he's injured completely, you're really having to dig, scratch, scrape to find what you've got at the bottom of the barrel. But playing through that slump, still being the leader that he is, and he's a quiet leader, I think Kerwin deserves a ton of credit, especially breaking out of that slump in the perfect game. Or I guess he started to do it before that, but having one of his biggest scoring outputs against Houston really, really helps Texas Tech out. So, yeah, I think you look up and down this roster, Clint, and there are a lot of pieces that are winning pieces. And individually, that's great. But the team chemistry, these guys, winning is fun. It helps you have fun.
Winning is fun. It's very fun.
We like it. They should keep doing it. If they want to win Saturday, I'm all for it.
This is our pitch. You win games, we'll have fun.
Deal. Oh, that was our pitch, so I don't need to deal it. Okay. You say deal.
Hello, Sharks.
But I do think you watch the joy that these guys play with. I think there is, when you've got guys that are, happy fellows like Darian Williams and Chance McMillan as the leaders of your team, I think that's where you see it seep out through the rest of the team. And I think the chemistry is what may elevate this team from a great to a potential elite team.
It's either going to be the chemistry or the algebra or the calculus.
I don't know.
Or
I don't know,
Texas
Jim.
history.
We'll see.
On Saturday, on Double T 97.3 right here. There's the logo. You can hear this matchup is up next. It is the rematch against the Arizona Wildcats. Speaking of red hot, Caleb Love over the last 5 games, averaging 20 points a game. He's hit 19 threes at a very good percentage. It's not like 19 of 100.
Including one well beyond half court.
One against Iowa State. The one that made the least amount of sense, to which they win that game in overtime and started the 3-game skid that Iowa State would go on from there.
Yep.
Who knows? Maybe extends past that. We'll see what happens. But Arizona, you mentioned, also red hot. They're winners of 5 in a row. Last time they lost was when they lost here in Lubbock. What do you see happening in this game in Tucson?
I see
not one song, not 3 song, Tucson.
I see a very close contest, just like you got in Lubbock. I think you'll probably see a few more points than we got in Lubbock, but I think you're going to get a really good game. And I would not be surprised to see it go either way. It's hard to count against the Red Raiders right now. It is. Until they lose one, it is hard to say that they're going to. At the same time, Arizona is, in my opinion, one of the 3 best basketball teams in this league right now. And they had a slow start to the season, but man, have they turned it on. Defense is the difference here. If you can hold Arizona down below 60 points again, which Tech has done to a lot of Big 12 teams, then you win this basketball game. I don't think they're going to hold you below 60 points. So if you hold them down 60, low 60s, I'll feel pretty good. If Caleb Love gets going, if some of those other guards get going, then I'm a little more nervous. And you got to stay out of foul trouble on the road.
I'll bump it up just a little bit, because if you hold them below 60 again on the road, as good as they're playing, massive win. I'll still count it as a big win if you hold them under 70. And I think holding them under 70 might not for sure win you the game, but also the way your offense is played, I'd feel really good about 70 or lower. I would take that right now if you put that on the table. And I think you have the ability to hold them lower than that and hold them defensively to a score you're talking about. But I think even from the last time these two teams met, and then you go into a hostile environment, which you just played in against Houston, I feel like Arizona is going to come in on a mission. We haven't seen the line for this yet. My guess is it's going to be somewhere, maybe Arizona 3.5 would be my guess. I don't know what
That's
you had
probably
in mind.
Right around the range I was thinking, somewhere between 2 and 3 points. One more thing on the point total there. I believe Texas Tech's lowest scoring output in a loss is 74 this year.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So, the lowest that they've held a team to in a loss. Now, UCF scored 87. So if 74, if you can hold a team under that, that's kind of been the mark, because this offense can score with the best of them. So I don't know. I still think I'd prefer a lower scoring knockdown, drag out, and watch Tech try to win that kind of game, because, well, they've won that pretty well every time they've been in it.
Well, it's going to be a fun one on Saturday. I think easily the best game of the Big 12 on Saturday. The only top 25 matchup in the Big 12, one of, I believe, 3 throughout college basketball. Again, you can hear that on Double T 97.3. That is going to do it for us. Thank you for joining us. Tune in next week for more of the Gaslighters Podcast.
This is the Ballin' Out Podcast, your weekly breakdown of Red Raider basketball from Double T 97.3 and DoubleTSportsNetwork.com.